Right, in this lesson, you're going to look at recreating what you currently see on your screen. So, a traditional six-sided dice. Now, you'll notice this is a finished article, so all faces have been completed from 1 to 6. Now, I'll talk you through how to add the 1, the 6, and the 3, and ultimately drawing that dice in the tutorial today. So when you log on to SolidWorks, this should be what your home screen looks like. And you've got two options in terms of starting a new file. So we can go to the little arrow at the top, File New, or easy method, click on the white page, click Part, click OK, and we're ready to start. Now for today, I would use the top plane, entirely up to you, but I think the top plane makes most sense. So the first new tool today, so I'm going to Sketch, and rather than using the corner rectangle, which we've used before, we're going to go to center rectangle. As in a previous tutorial, using the origin, I'm going to wait for it to go so the little orange dot appears. Click once, drag it out. So my rectangle is being drawn and using that origin as the center. Smart dimensioning all our sketches, as discussed last week. So I'm going to make it 50 millimeters by 50 millimeters. And then what I want to do is features, extrude boss, and again, being a cube, 50 millimeters up, making sure to tick that off. To very quickly see that central in your screen, hit the space bar and opt for isometric. It'll kind of focus that dead center within your page. So fairly straightforward so far. Now, what I aim to do now is to show you how I would set up the faces for the 1 dot, the 6 dots, and the 3 dots. And in another tutorial, I'll go through the remaining numbers. But potentially some of you will feel confident enough to be able to do that without watching the second tutorial. So the first one will be the 1 dot. I'm going to use the middle button on my mouse. Holding it down, I'm going to rotate it to the bottom face where we can see that initial drawing of the square that we drew at the start. I'm going to select that bottom face. I'm going to hit spacebar, make sure I look at that two-dimensionally. I'm going to go sketch, circle, and notice the orange dot once again. Click once, let go. We can type in the size at the bottom here, but that still isn't a fully dimensioned sketch. So what's worth doing, Smart Dimension tool, we'll click once, drag it out, and just apply that dimension. Excuse me. Next thing, before we tick off that sketch, is to ensure that we extrude cut that number 1 dot. I'm going to go for 2 millimeters, so that'll look a little bit like, oops. Tick it off when we're finished, and that is our first face already done. Bit of general knowledge for you in terms of the dice structure, dice setup. If this face has 1 dot, the opposite face, being this one, has to have the number 6 on there. So opposing faces always add up to 7. So I want to hit the space bar, again making it 2D, go back to sketch, and at this point I want to start using construction lines, or a method of kind of accurately drawing a shape without necessarily always using the Smart Dimension tool. So when we go to the line tool, click on the drop-down arrow, line tool as per before. Now the big difference now is we've got these options. I'm going to click on for construction, therefore making it a construction line. So if I click here now, making sure the line goes down at 90, you'll notice that the line is a dotted line. I'll do the same horizontally across my shape. Excuse me. And I've got a location now as to where I want my first dot of the 6 to go on this face. Before doing so then, making sure I apply some dimensions to this. So clicking once, twice, and then a third time with that down there. 12.5 being the measurement this time round. Something similar from the top. Click once, click twice, drag it over, and this time I'm going to make this 10. Now, circle tool this time. Now you'll notice if I zoom in the pen tool or the pencil tool with a circle attached to it. When I get close to the center, you'll notice that the yellow symbol suggests that it's actually going to draw this on where those two lines intersect. There we go. So you can see the center of my circle is where those two lines intersect. Smart dimensional tool once again. And as always now, all of the holes or the dots will be 10 millimeters. Now, that is the only circle that we need to draw. The next thing to talk about is the use of this tool, which is called the linear sketch pattern. So I'm going to click on this tool and I'm going to select one of the circles. Now you'll already notice that it's suggesting drawing a second circle to the right. Now what we need to do is, again, using this left-hand area, which I'll refer to as the feature tree, we want to apply some sizes. So I'm going to make the space 25 millimeters, and I'll notice that that will change how far apart those circles are from one another. What we can also do is add a y-axis, and we want 2 more, but at this point we want it to be reversed, so it goes down. So I've just clicked reverse arrow, and the spacing this time we will make 15. And notice, nicely evenly spaced apart. We'll tick that off. We have all 6 dots drawn very, very quickly. No different to before. Features, extrude cut. It should memorize the 2 millimeters from the first dot. Tick it off, and we've got our number 6 face done. Now the only remaining one left for this tutorial is the 3 face. So I'm going to go for that on here. So I'm going to click. Make sure it's 2D. And again, I'm going to go sketch, line, and I'm going to go for construction. This time, I'm going to go from corner to corner. Once again, you'll notice the orange dot signifying when I reach that corner. That therefore gives me the center point. With no measuring whatsoever, I know that that's the center of that square. I'm going to go circle. Again, that yellow cursor telling me when it's going to join in the center. Smart dimension. No surprise. Making sure that's 10. Hit enter. And what we now want to do, excuse me, is once again use the linear sketch pattern. At this point, no different to with the 6, we're going to click on here. The big difference now is what we do up here. So I'm going to make sure that it changes to 20, so the spacing is there. The difference this time is I'm going to apply a 45-degree angle, and I'm then going to tick that off. I'm then going to go linear sketch pattern, change that back to 20, and this time making it 225 degrees. You'll notice is the complete opposite of the previous shape, and we'll tick that off. Features, extrude cut. Again, the 2 millimeters is remembered from the previous 2 faces, and we tick it off. Now what you'll see very, very quickly is I now have the 1, 6, and 3 face complete. The one other thing that's worth mentioning is applying a fillet to the edges of your cube. Now for that to work, we've got the button up here called fillet. We can change it to a chamfer, but we'll talk more about that in a future lesson. So we're going to look at a fillet, otherwise known as a radius. Now for this to work, what we need to do is click the fillet tool. I'm going to go for a fillet that's quite small, 2.5. Enter, and what you'll notice when I click on this face and tick it off, we'll get a nice radius along that edge. Now I'm going to undo this because it's something that I would do once all 6 faces have been done, and I'll recap how to use that fillet tool in the second tutorial for this lesson.